Today you see an easy to sew, really cozy winter garment, but I've gone a little bit rogue and I made one of them for summer as well because you can do anything. Love the fabric choices here. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I have some cozy garments to share. Well, actually just one. The design is meant to be cozy. It's designed to be either a vest or a cardigan, and this is brand new from Itch to Stitch. It's called Andorra. This is an easy to fit garment that can go over something. You can also wear it under something, so the ease isn't excessive. It's not tight either. I think it's okay. And it can be either a sweater or a long sleeve top, or it can be a vest by just leaving off the sleeves. Drop shoulder style, so if you end up adding an armband, it can be a vest. But you see I went rogue and I made that option into a top. Just depends on the fabric choice. It's got a nice V. It's not that deep. I can still wear it without anything underneath and just a bra, and I'm perfectly fine. I'm not showing anything. So you can do either or. If you're making it as a sweater, you'll probably be wearing something underneath that's higher. It's just, this is meant to be a layering piece. And then there's a hemband right there. Long sleeves with a cuff, or you can leave the sleeves off and add a hemband. The full bust option has a bust dart here that I think is genius. Because the Andorra vest and sweater is new at Itch to Stitch, it's going to be 20% off through next Tuesday, the 9th of December. Make sure to grab it if you like it for a little bit less. It's always the best thing. I'll leave you my affiliate link at the top of the comment section pinned, also in the description box. If you end up using my affiliate link, you just click on it, it takes you directly to the website. And if you purchase, you don't pay anything extra. I just receive a small commission back from Kenneth, who owns Itch to Stitch. It's one of the ways I make an income creating really helpful content all about sewing here on YouTube that you can enjoy without any cost. So if you like to support what I do, that is one way you can do it, and I'm super grateful if you use my affiliate. You need medium to heavyweight fabric for this one, at least 20% stretch horizontally. If your fabric doesn't stretch that much vertically, you're going to be okay because we have positive ease. There's nothing fitted here, so you should be okay. Also, the drop shoulder style gives you space around the armhole, which doesn't mean that you need fabric that stretches vertically a whole lot. I think the first choice is the sweater knit, of course, but you can use many others like double knits, Ponte Roma, athletic knits, French terry, rib knit, even maybe a stretch velvet, a waffle knit. I would stay away from lightweight fabrics like ITY, double brush poly, rayon spandex, bamboo spandex, modal spandex. Even cotton lycra I think wouldn't work that well. So just keep a medium weight and you'll be okay. Now for the neckband, the best fabric is rib knit. But not all rib knit is the same. There's some that is amazing quality, others that are horrible quality, horrible recovery. So you can find both spectrums. In my case, the rib knit I've been able to source around here is not good. If I wash it maybe 2 or 3 times, it'll just stretch out and just deform, and it's not going to behave really well. So just be careful with the rib knit. If you have good quality, I think it's the best way to get the V neckline to look really nice, same as the hemband and the cuffs. Most of the time a sweater knit isn't amazing to do neckbands and things, so you might have to mix the fabrics that you're using depending what you use for your main fabric. You need a little bit of stay tape to stabilize the back of the neckline and the shoulders partially, or you can just cut your own little strips of interfacing. If you're loving the sewing content over here at Lifting Pins and Needles, please don't step off this episode without tapping on the like button. Best way to let YouTube know that this is good quality content. Hopefully more people that like to sew can find me over here. Sizes 0 to 40 US, up to a 62-inch hip. There's a regular bust option and a full bust option. The cutoff here is 3 inches. So if you measure your high bust, your full bust, and it's 3 inches or less, you can choose the regular bust option, or you can choose the full bust option. I'm right there at the C sewing cup size, the 3-inch. I like the bust dart, so if I can choose either or in my situation, I'm going to go with the bust dart because I think it's awesome. I plotted my measurements down here, and I'm going to be comfortable sewing the size 10 with the full bust option, blended to a 12 waist. Now my hips would be a 14, but because this doesn't go down to the full hip, I just decided to keep it to a 12 there at the bottom of the hem. It is a shorter garment, so I didn't really need to blend out. You know, I would if this was a longer sweater, but it's not. Ease around the bust, 7 inches, around the waist, 13. At the bottom of the hem, and the hemband is going to bring it in. Just depends on the type of knit you use for your hemband. It could look a little more fitted or not. Fitting adjustments, I made one version really quickly. I had the tiniest bit of fabric available. I was able to cut the front and the back there with nothing left over. I couldn't have made it longer even if I wanted to. So for my first version, I'm doing the original length. Later on, I decided to add 1.5 inches to the front and the back at the shorten and lengthen lines. For my second version, I'm doing the long sleeve. I also added length there, 1 inch. The bust start, I pulled it down by 1.25 inches. Easy peasy adjustment, and I was happy to sew. Now, this is my cheeky summer version. If I'd made this in a sweater knit, then this would be a vest, and I could wear a long sleeve top underneath, and it looks really cute. That's, I think, how most people would do it. But I wanted a summer top, and this is amazing. The coverage here around the arm is great. You're not going to see your bra or anything in there while you wear it, so that's great. The neckline is not too low that I can't pull it off with just a sports bra or a regular bra underneath. That is my V neckband. Now this overlap here, I did a little bit of a hand tuck in there on the inside just to keep it in place. My fabric is quite floppy, and that's how it is. It's nice and wide, wider than the typical V neckband. Super nice. Hemband over here. I have a basta in there that you can't really see because of the print. I've worked with this fabric before. I've made other garments with it. This was the very last little bit I had of it. And I know I like to serge, so with the narrow zigzag and press open, just because I like how that looks and how that feels. It's very flat, very nice. There is the little basta right there. And it's such a neat finish. Very nice. I'm going to show you this styled many ways, very casual in between, a little dressed up. And I've also already worn it to the gym to work out and sweat in. So let's see this fun little top. This is my first Andorra vest, and I made this to be a summer version, workout top, casual top in an athletic knit. I just used the armbands there. Of course, if you made this in a sweater knit, you could layer a turtleneck underneath, but I wanted my summer version. This is the original length, and you'll see it's a little short. With my final one, I did lengthen it a little bit. I have the full bust option. I really like the fit. I've got a size 10 full bust, blended to 12 waist and hips. The depth of this V is not too much that I can wear it with a bra. The bust that you can't even see it. I did lower my bust start by 1.25 inches, and I'm really happy with this. It's going to be a workhorse for me for working out and for whatever I want, because the style can work in so many ways, and I really love how it turned out. I really like it. It's so light, so fresh, and it's great with a denim skirt, super nice and casual. Here I've dressed it up a little bit with black jeans and some lovely walkable heels. I love patterns that can work for summer and winter, for different styles, dressing up, dressing down. I think this is perfect, and I really like this version here. I really enjoy the colors in this print, and that's why I got so much. You've probably seen other garments I've made with the same fabric. Okay, let's make it super casual and sporty, and let's get some stretch woven shorts. These are ready to wear, by the way. They used to be my son's. He found them too short for him, and I think they fit very comfortably for me as well, even though they're men's shorts. So sneakers, a long active day. This would be great for a hike. I know that this top is going to take me a long way. And let me show you this one worn in real life already. This is me getting to the gym in my skirts and my sneakers. I've got a leg day with my personal trainer, and I thought this was going to be absolutely perfect. I have a sports bra underneath, and it's fresh. It's going to allow air to flow through the bottom, through the sides. It's going to be amazing for working out, and I always knew I was going to wear this to the gym. So here is my unflattering self doing some deadlifts. I'm doing one with the barbell. The one in the middle is just with one leg. I've been working on that move for years, that I can have the balance to just stand on one leg that whole time. So yeah, I really enjoyed my leg workout. This top worked wonderfully. I didn't even feel I had it on. It was wicking, it was fresh. It was just great. Leaving the gym with my hair wet, full of sweat, face is red, and I'm very happy this passed the test. I'm going to be working out in this top all the time. So I hope this gave you an idea for this pattern, that it doesn't really have to be for winter. It could also be for summer. It could be an amazing summer top. And I'm definitely taking this one with me on my trip for working out over there because I'm going to be going to the gym. I already found the gym I'm going to be going to. I'm probably going to be wearing a fitted thermal thing on the bottom and then this on top, and that's how I'm going to work out, and it's going to be amazing. In the sewing segment, I'm going to show you how you stabilize the back neckline because we're suppressing the stretch there. We're also stabilizing the shoulders partially. I'm going to show you the pattern pieces, stay stitching for that little V neckband. The basta is included because my version has it, and then I'm going to show you in detail how to sew the V neckband. This is the back of my vest, and we need to stabilize the back and partially the shoulders here for this one. I'm using this fusible stay tape. We're basically suppressing the stretch here. The design is like that. So over here, I'm going to cut 2 inches. I'm going to cut 2 of these because we're just going to use this for the start of the shoulder area right here. Fuse that on there. And then we're going to go all along the back. If you don't have something like this, just cut your own little strips of interfacing that don't stretch. That's what I used to do before having this. So you can always make it work. Now, if I'm going to do the version with the sleeves, with the long sleeves and the sweater knit, I would go and interface the whole shoulder right here. This is the sleeveless vest, so I think that's okay. But if I was doing the sleeves, I would go the whole way. Here are the pattern pieces for this version of the Andorra vest. I'm actually making the one with no sleeves in this one. I had a tiny bit left over of this athletic knit, so this is something I'm going to wear on its own, or I can layer it. Tiny bit left over, so my main pieces only have the main fabric, the back on the fold, the front on the fold, the deep V right there. I have a bust dart because I'm sewing the full bust option. If you're doing the regular bust, you won't have a bust dart. Hemband is black athletic knit, V neckband, black athletic knit, and the same for the armbands. The only thing missing if you want the long sleeve is the sleeve piece and the cuff that you substitute for the sleeve band. You can see the back, we've already stabilized the shoulders partially and the back neckline with fusible stay tape, so we've got no stretch in that area of the garment. This is the V neckline area, and we're just going to do some quick stay stitching here that's going to make sewing the V neckband on later easier. And I've got a little dot there so I know exactly where to pivot where the 3/8 seam allowance sort of crosses there. I'm using a regular stitch length 3/8 seam allowance here. It's just about 1.5 inches below the dot on both sides of the V. Now you can snip into the V now. I'm actually going to leave it for later. I prefer to snip just when I'm going to get to the neckband. For now, I have bust darts to sew. If you don't have bust darts, you're doing the regular bust option. Ignore them. I have them. And I'm sewing them just as I do any woven dart from the tip down to the widest part. I let the needle into the fabric with my hand so that it's right on the edge. No back tucking. And then I go to the widest part. There's a little dart. Now I'm going to knot this tip by hand. And it's always a really nice finish there on the tip. That's not a decorative feature. They're basically a fitting feature. So the more smooth your tip is, the more it's going to blend on the side and you won't notice it. So that's how that looks there. No puckers, no dimpling, nothing. Plus it's a print. No one's ever going to know that that's there. Because this fabric is medium weight, I'd rather serge the edges and sew this like wovens and then press seams open. So my edges are serged and I'm sewing this 3/8 seam allowance with a narrow zigzag. This is my neckband because my right and wrong side are pretty much the same. I want you to see the difference. So I've written W's here just so you know that that's the wrong side of the fabric. It's also where I did my little marks. So I'm always going to know. So it's a long piece that you cut on the fold. We have to fold it lengthwise, wrong sides together like that. Keeping that folded edge there, I'm going to take both sides and just bring this forward, bring this forward. The folded edges are going to be here on the inside now, like that, and the raw edges are over here on the bottom. And then what I'm going to do to make it easier is I'm going to baste all around this section, just everywhere, so that it just acts like one piece. I've decided to hand baste it because I can really control the fabric here. It's so much easier. I'm doing it with a light color thread so you can see it and so I can see it. I definitely would not want to keep these basting stitches in the garment later on. If I did it in black, I wouldn't be able to see them. So this is going to be easy for me to see and to remove. So it's all super neat. It's all very fixed in place. And now we can sew this onto the neckline. I didn't want to snip this earlier because I still had steps to go when I stay stitched here. But now I'm going to snip into here. So now this can extend like that. The stay stitching is going to be a reference. We're going to sew right on top of it. I'm going to put this front piece wrong sides up here so I can see it. I'm going to take my neckband, get this point right here and slide it in here so that it's at the back of the neckline. And I'm going to find the middle right there of that point, making sure it's 3/8 seam allowance here and there. I'm going to pin it right here. You're going to have a little pleat of fabric there, but basically the edges should match up here. So now I'm going to sew right here, pivoting right there. I'm going to be sewing right on top of that stay stitching, and that's going to finish the V. I'm going to just sew this little bit right there and then fiddle with the rest of the neckband in a second stage. Right there on the dot. Now I'm going to pivot, move all the fabric out of the way. I'm going to take out this pin actually, and then sew the other side. I like to hand crank around this section just to make sure I don't sew any pockets or pleats. That's how that looks like right there. And now from this side, we have a really nice V right there, super neat. Okay, now I have the right side of the neckline. We have already sewn this V part right here. So I've got all the raw edges there. Raw edge, raw edge. These pins you see here are on the pattern. These are going to be shoulder seams. That's the center back, another shoulder seam. And I've got my whole neckline here. So I'm going to match up the center back that I marked here. You can see my red little line. I'm going to match that up right there. Shoulder seam right here. The neckband is slightly smaller. So we are going to be stretching it out a little bit, but that's normal because that's how you get the neckline not to gape. This is the other side. This is the other shoulder seam. I've got it pressed open right there. And so now we get to sew the second stage. So you can see from here, I've got this section sewn where the V is. I'm going to pick up right there. I'm going to be stretching the neckband as I sew. So it's all neat all the way around. And I'm going to do this on the sewing machine, narrow zigzag like I did for everything else, matching up the reference points. And then once it's all sewn, then I'm going to serge it at the end. Here's the neckband done. If you want to, you can edge stitch. I never do that. I just press it flat and I'm much happier. It's always an optional thing. Now, if you're going to do the sleeves, you can set them in on the flat. So then you would open it all up, sew it on the flat and then add on the cuff. Pretty easy. But if you're doing the vest, we're going to sew side seams first and then sew the armband on the round. Side seam sewn. I'm also going to press these open. Now I wouldn't do all of this type of stitching with a sweater knit, for example. I would just sew the seam directly on the serger. But for this, it's just better. I'm going to feel so much more comfortable. This is going to be flat. This is the armband seam. It's not a rectangle. It's got a little bit of a shape, so it lies nicely when you wear it. There is my seam. I'm going to head to the iron and press it open, as well as my side seams. And so this goes like this. Then you just fold onto itself and we get an armband. Here's one of my little sleeve bands. I've done 2 tiny dots here on the right side of my band just because the marks are in there so I can see it. So that's for the back armhole and the single one for the front armhole. So I found the armhole that matches that right here. And I'm just going to slide this in here, match up this seam under here, match up the 2 notches with the 2 notches down here. On the other side, there's a single little mark with a single mark over here. On the top, I have that one that will match the shoulder. It's pretty much 1-to-1. I'm going to do the same as I've done everywhere, sew it on the sewing machine and sew it on the serger. And then all I have left is the hemband, which is pretty much the same concept. I'm going to have side seams on my hemband. Now, something about this V-neck band that Kenneth showed us later on, if you're using a rib knit, I think it's helpful that you press it into the rounded shape that it's going to have before overlapping it. This is how she did hers. Let me show you a photo. She authorized me to use this photo so I can show you. In the tutorial where I was showing you the V-neckline I sewed, I was using an athletic knit that doesn't really benefit from the shaping you get of doing that. Depends on what you use for your neckband. Pressing it into shape nice and round like that could give you a nice result. So I wanted to add that in as something that you could consider doing. My second version is more traditional. It is a sweater knit, and I mentioned that if I was doing a sweater knit, I would probably stabilize all of the shoulders, not just partially like you saw me do with the athletic knit. So you're seeing some images of me putting that stay tape all along the shoulder area on the back. Sweater knits are not amazing for recovery. They can end up getting really long and saggy there, especially if you make the mistake of hanging them to store them away. Don't do that. Just fold them and put them on a shelf somewhere in your closet. Don't store them hanging. I know they look nice and everything, but it can really end up distorting the shoulders. The stay tape is going to help with that. Now, the other thing I did extra here was stabilize the V-sec. I put a lot of interfacing there just to make it nice and secure so that I can cut in the snip. You know, this sweater knit particularly is not tightly woven, so I was worried about a hole. So whacking on some interfacing there certainly gives me a lot of peace of mind. And here is my second version. I didn't want to use this main fabric as the neckband. I don't think it would have worked well. It's also a little bit itchy for me right here on this area. I know if I wear a normal top underneath, I'm never going to touch this, you know, in this section. So I chose this sweater knit, which matches. I think a rib knit, of course, would have turned out better, but I just don't have anything to match. I think a nice black rib knit would have looked really good. I use what I have and I'm quite happy. So I have the matching cuffs and the hemband with this fabric. I matched up the subtle stripes that this print has there on the sides. I would have been unhappy if they didn't match. And you can barely tell that there's a bust out there. Just a little bit of distortion there, but it's so nice amount of ease. It's going to be amazing to wear over things, to be cozy around the house. When I go out, put a jacket on top, it'll all be very, very nice to wear. And I'm very happy with it. So let's see it. Love the neutral tone here. Really love it. This is my winter version of the Andorra sweater. I think it's really nice in this sweater knit. It's really fuzzy. You'll see the details up closer. I've got it paired with my red Quebec skirt. It's really nice. This one's a little longer, 1.5 inches longer than the original. I do have a sweater knit of the hemband. The cuffs are the same fabric. Worked really hard to match up those subtle stripes on the side on the sweater knit. That worked out well. There is my neckband in the sweater knit, drop shoulder style, very comfortable, little discreet bust out right there, and the cuffs in the sweater knit. Super nice. I think the best fabric for the neckband and cuffs and everything is the rib knit. It's just that I don't have any matching one or great quality rib knit. I used what I have and I'm very happy with this one. It's a really nice cozy piece for the winter. I really like the combination of gray and red here a lot. Okay, this is non-traditional because gray is a neutral. I've paired it with green jeans right here, wide leg jeans. This is a comfortable pair of jeans ready to wear that I bought in the winter. I'd never seen jeans that color. And yeah, I thought, why not? So here's another way I can wear this casually and I'm going to be very happy with my sweater. I'm going to be taking this one on my trip for sure. It's not too bulky. It'll be great under jackets and it'll keep me warm. Okay, let's dress up the Andorra sweater here. I've got a really nice skirt with my heeled boots. Replace the sports bra that I have under there for a turtleneck, which would be the way to wear it in the cold. It's just that when I'm modeling this, it's really hot. I love it. I love that you can wear this sweater however you want, dressed up, casual. It's super cozy. I really like the fit. I think if I wanted to, I could go down a whole size if I wanted a closer fit. I made the size as per the size chart and everything because this was a pattern test. But if I print it out again and make a size less, I would be happy as well. It's up to you. I really like this design, super classic. Love that neckline. Super happy with my summer version of the Andorra, going a little bit rogue, you know, not the recommended fabric, but you can see it still works and it's going to be an amazing little top for me to enjoy. in lots of ways, you know. You saw it styled. I can do many more things if I wanted. And my more traditional one, I think it's really nice. I think the bust studs add something different and improve the feet a lot for being such a nice relaxed feet garment. Usually garments like this don't have much shaping, but this one does. And I think it's really nice for us who have a larger cup size. It does make a difference and I appreciate it a lot. Have a look at this pattern, 20% off through next Tuesday the 9th. If you like it, use my affiliate link. I'm super grateful if you do. Subscribed. See you then. Bye.